Whether you're a life coach, therapist, biohacker, invested in wellness, or in the healthcare profession, if you have an intention to work in psychedelic spaces, you're in the right place then. If you're called, get involved. But first, get informed. Let's talk the 4 N's: intake, intention, in-space integration, leading to deeper transformations. Psychedelic Coach Podcast, Todd Cole. Walk you through the process, it's all possible. Leave space for the follow-through. Most importantly, integration is not optional.
Welcome to the Psychedelic Coach Podcast. My name is Ty, and I'm really excited to be here with you today, as I'm always excited to be with you to talk to you about some really awesome stuff in regards to integrating the self, integrating psychedelic experiences, and coaching people in this space as well. And so the thing I'm going to talk about today is, and before I start talking, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another podcast. Really, really important. Subscribe so that you don't miss any of this information, because it's awesome. That's why you're here. You've been here, coming here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't have to be, waiting for my emails to tell you to come check this out. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about no sense of safety in the self. If there's no sense of safety in the self, there's really limited or no potential for full healing within the self. And safety is something that we talk about a lot at the Condor Approach. It's something that we talk about a lot in our Instagram feed and the stuff that we're putting up on YouTube and just all the stuff that we teach around emotions. It's that if there's no safety, there's very limited sense of healing. And it's a nervous system dynamic. When a person doesn't feel safe, the nervous system actually prepares, right? The nervous system, meaning the brain and the spinal cord, all of the nerves, everything that gets everything going in the body, puts the body into a position where it's on alert. And when it's on alert, the immune system gets dialed down, because why do you need an immune system if a tiger's coming to get you, right? Why do you need, you don't need to sleep. You need to be alert all the time. And all of this stuff drives the body into a position where it's not optimized for healing. When we are in an optimal space for healing, it's when we're in a rest space. It's when we can digest the food that we've eaten, where we can process things, where we can actually mobilize certain proteins to actually replace and heal things and remove any kind of deformities from the body, and start to really, really get things evened out to prepare for the next moment, the next movement, the next connection, and building resilience. And so this is a really, really important space. If I do not feel safe, it's going to be challenging for me to heal. Every time this happens without fail when we're working with people in psychedelics. As a nurse, I know that people would come back to the ER over and over again with the things that they had getting worse, because they were so stressed out from being unsafe that they couldn't heal, because the body is not in an optimal space to heal. Now, there are always going to be things that the body will mobilize. Like if you get a cut on your skin, the body will mobilize whatever resources it has to puncture the hole, but the healing may not be optimal. This is where scarring gets really wonky. This is where people get infections in cuts and stuff like that, if the immune system is not rocking with the rest of the body. And it's just like first line, patch the Band-Aid, put a Band-Aid on it, and, we'll see what happens. This is the thing. Safety, from the context that we work at the Condor Approach and the work that I do in intimacy and all my coaching clients, safety is space that most people don't realize. And I've done podcasts on this before. We talk about this all the time on Instagram. Safety is freedom from hurt, harm, loss, deficit, injury, death, pain. Okay. All of these things are really, really important. There's 7 of them. Okay. Hurt, harm, loss, deficit, injury, death, pain. When you're free from those things, chances are you perceive safety. Safety is a very moment of now thing, right now. Security is a projection of safety in the future. Okay. It's not the same thing. It's an idea. Secure. I will have things secure. I feel secure right now is really, I feel safe. I am secured right now in this moment. But security is a projection that something won't happen to you in the future. I am safe right now. And so I like to differentiate between the two, because people often say, yeah, I feel secure. And when a person says they feel secure, they're in reference to what is to come, what is to come, what is to come. I am constantly feeling secure right now about the future. I'm feeling secure about the next movement, secure about the next movement. And it takes a person out of the moment of now. Safety is a very, very moment of now thing. Okay. Security can even be 2 seconds from now. Safety is right now. So I want to delineate the difference between the two when I'm talking so that you know where I'm coming from, because not everybody moves from the same context space. And I want to make sure that you are in the space to understand what I'm talking about. And if you don't agree with it, that's cool too. You can not agree with it. I'm perfect with that. That's quite all right with me. You don't have to agree with what I'm talking about. I want you to get into context so you can be like, yeah, that makes sense. So that's all I want is so that we can be on the same page. When we're on the same page as human beings, we can integrate. That's what we're about. Integration, cold biointegration solutions, so on. Anyway, I'm rambling. So to feel safe, what does that mean? To feel safe, to feel free from those things. And when you look at those things that I just mentioned, all of those things are indicators of violence of some sort. When I'm hurt, something violent, there's a form of violence. When I'm harmed, violence. Deficit, something is taken away from me, or I'm lacking something. That's a violent space. When I'm pushed into deficit, right? Loss, when something's taken away from me, is a violent space, right? If somebody dies, what happens? There's violence to my connection. Okay, so this is something that people are not considering, right? And violence is not a good or a bad thing. Let's remove the dynamic of good or bad from violence. It is just violence, right? Injury, violence. Death, violence. Pain, right? Disrupts everything that's going on with a person. It's violence. It is a disruption to the sanctity of your peace, right? Which is a violent space. Anytime something is threatened, it is a form of violence. And so I'd like to recontextualize that as well. When we're talking about things, violence is not a good or a bad thing. It is a thing, right? When you look at animals in the wild and they go hunting, it's violence. They got to eat, right? Right. A spider grabs a fly in its web and eats it. Is violent. It's part of the design of what's happening on our planet, on planet Earth and humanity. There are meteors slamming into the planet all the time, right? Violent. It's violent. The sunbeams that move from the sun and hit your skin is violent. Even though we take the sun and absorb it and do all these things, it's still violent. It's still a form of violence. Like even as I'm doing this, when I'm clapping my hands to applaud, it's a form of violence. It's a slapping. It's something happening. There's a disruption here, okay? And so it's not a good or a bad thing. It's violence. So safety is freedom from violence in a nutshell. Okay, freedom from violence, violent activities, violent thoughts, anything that could hurt, harm, loss, cause loss, deficit, injury, death, and pain is a violent space. So I know I'm harping on this, but I can't stress this enough, y'all. I cannot stress this enough. So creating a sense of safety within the self is really, really important. When you consider psychedelic experiences, right? Safety is important because if a person doesn't feel safe, their nervous system comes online to protect. Surprise, right? It's always protecting. And we can protect in multiple ways. We can protect in the classic fight or flight, which is a very, very buzz situation, buzz topic, buzz words, fight or flight. People will run for their safety or hide for their safety. They will fight back for their safety, right? They will do these things, right? When you get defensive, when you're offended by something is coming at you. There's an attack. I'm offended by those words. So I'm going to defend myself because I feel attacked. There's a safety issue there. Right. And so the nervous system prepares for that. If you walk into a house, if you walk into your home and you don't feel safe with your partner, or you don't feel safe with your parents, or you don't feel safe with your kids, you don't feel safe with somebody who lives, a roommate, your body's going to be on alert all the time, whether you recognize it or not, whether you realize it or not. And so the more you're in a space where you feel unsafe, the more I am in a space where I feel unsafe, the slower my healing is going to be if I heal at all. Right. And so it removes the potential for full healing. Relaxation is absolutely optimal. It's pinnacle, not just going to sleep, but being asleep and being rested and relaxed. Okay. And being relaxed, being in a space where you can actually rejuvenate yourself is really, really important. There's minimal sleep, minimal sleep and there's maximal sleep. And people who are in fight or flight responses, they seldom get enough REM sleep. They seldom get enough deep sleep. that to support them in their spaces. It's really, really important to understand that. So deep sleep is really important in a relaxation space. So safety is important. And so I'll share a little bit about my safety spaces and what's been going on with my body. And many of you, some of you may have never seen me. I invite you to go check me out on Instagram at the Condor Approach and at Tahfree, Tahfree, and just go look at my Instagram, look at my pictures, look at me. Okay, I've been working on this body and kind of turning the clock back and removing stigmas and things from my system so that my body can actually relax and rejuvenate itself into a space that I want it to be in. And so I lied about everything. And I've said this on podcasts before. I've said this in many an interview. My healing journey, the depth has been a lifelong process. Healing never ends. But there was a time where things accelerated so quickly with my healing that it was crazy. And that time is when I stopped lying, when I started pulling back on being inauthentic, when I started removing all of the hiding that I was doing, the not expressing myself, the keeping my voice small, the keeping my posture small. All of these things were keeping me small, and it changed everything. I didn't feel safe to be myself. I didn't feel safe to be honest with myself. I didn't feel safe to be honest with the people around me. And when I was a kid, I asked my mother, how come I was so close in age with my brother? We're 23 months apart. And my mother told me that I was a surprise baby, that she didn't plan for me, that her and my father didn't plan for me. And I took that as I was a mistake. And so I lied about everything because I didn't want my mother to ever find out that I was outside of what she wanted me to be, that would be an impressed space, right? That would be a space worthy of her love. And so it's something that I crafted and created based on my circumstances. And so I never told anybody about it. Well, I mean, how could I? I was lying about everything. And so I got to a point where I couldn't figure out what was going on, why I couldn't shed body fat, what was happening with me. And the things that were happening with me were surrounded with dishonesty. And when I started to be honest, when I started to be safe with me, and I have to attribute this to Cole, right? And I'm going to blame Cole for this. When Cole and I got together, when we first started hanging out, we were just messing around. We were bedroom buddies, and it was fun. It was great, and it was cool, and it was easy, and there was no pressure. And I felt like I could tell her anything. And I told her, I was like, look, I feel like I can say anything to you. And she's like, you can. And I was like, well, I want you to know that you can always say things to me. And I always left this open for people. Your experiences, everything has always been welcome in this direction towards me. But I didn't perceive that things were welcome for me on the output. And so I kind of tested the waters. I was like, well, she says that I could be myself. And she says that. And so I kind of started dipping my toe in the water. And I kind of started leaning into being honest with Cole and telling her about things with other women, telling her about things with my family life, with things that were going on with me, with money. And she didn't flinch. And I've only known one other person that I felt that comfortable with. And I completely sabotaged that relationship because I didn't feel safe, right? I didn't feel safe. And, I sabotaged that relationship, and I didn't want to sabotage this relationship. And so I started to dabble in the safety space, and I just kept checking in. Hey, I don't feel safe to express this, but I want to express it. And she would be like, tell me your truth, man. And I would tell her. And I started to go to sleep. I had insomnia for 30 years. I didn't sleep. I was so wound up about making sure that nobody found out anything about me, about the lies that I had contrived, that I was so buried in lies that I didn't know what to do with myself, and I couldn't sleep. And as I started to be honest, I went to sleep. The first time Cole came to spend the night at my house, I fell asleep for like 6 hours, and I hadn't done it, and I couldn't tell you how long. 6 hours. That was a big deal for me. I didn't get more than 3 hours of sleep a night. And it was a huge change for me. It was a huge shift. It was a huge movement in a different direction. And I felt safe. And so my body started to relax. And the body fat I had been doing my best to get off for a long time started to come off really easily. I used to have to work to get body fat off me, and it just started to come off. And I started to lean into different things, and eventually my glasses came off. My eyesight started to clear up. I was told I'd be blind by the time I was 40. And my eyesight started clearing up. Still not wearing glasses. I mean, the last time I wore glasses was in 2014 or 15. When I took my glasses off. A while ago. Almost 10 years. And I'm excited about what's going on with my body and excited about the changes and the shifts. I'm excited about the differences and the potentials in myself. You know, this is a real deal situation. When I felt safe, my body started to remedy itself. I started to lean, my body started to crave the foods that it wanted, that it knew the protein sequences, it knew all of these things. And I just started to follow my body. And so when there's a sense of safety, there's a potential for healing, right? And healing to make whole, right? That's my belief on what the word heal means, whole, right? Healing is making whole. And when I am healthy, I'm healing thy body, heal thy mind, heal thy heart, heal thy relationship. And this safety is not just an exclusive thing to the body perceiving safety from hurt, but your constructs, right? Is your relationship threatened? Your relationship to people around you. Are your kids safe? You know, I have a friend right now whose kid is not safe. They're having a hard time with stuff. I have a few friends whose kids don't feel safe, and they're in split parent situations, and it's challenging, you know, and the kids don't feel safe. The parent doesn't feel safe for the kid. And so it's not just about the self, it's about what is connected and integrated with the self. You know, if my identity, if somebody calls me, you know, you're stupid, your coaches are stupid, and I decide to take that on as an insult and threat, it might cause me to not feel safe around certain people who call coaches stupid. I have friends that are like, coaches are full of shit. And I'm like, tell me more about that. Tell me more. Because, you know, I want to know what drives you to feel that way. I don't care. I'm interested though, you know, but there's no charge for me because I know the value of being a coach and what it is. It's like if somebody was to tell me that nurses are worthless, I'd be like, tell me more about that. I don't need to defend something. I don't feel like anything's threatened. That's somebody's perspective. And when I can lean into that, when I can feel safe in conversation, when I can feel safe in my interactions, when I can feel safe in my home, like I have to feel safe in my home. If I don't feel safe in my home, healing don't happen. I've been in places where I didn't feel safe. I've been with people and I didn't feel safe. And that's when I get colds. That's when, you know, you get the occasional cold sore on your lip. That's when you get the flu. That's when all these things happen because your immune system is not on board because you're afraid, because you're running, because there's this potential for something happening. You don't feel safe. And so safety is tremendously important. You know, Cole and I have, you know, facilitated, I can't tell you how many psychedelic experiences and had people come in and say, this is the safest container that I've ever experienced. This is the safest place. I've never felt safe in my life. And this is where they have the most expansive healing because the very first thing we talk about is your safety is of the utmost importance to me. Please tell me what's safety for you so that we can get on the same page, so that we can support you in expanding into this experience. You absolutely must, as a coach, you absolutely must. All my psychedelic coaches, the people who are listening to this, who are leaning into being coaches, you must create an environment where a person can keep themselves safe. Like, I don't keep other people safe. They keep themselves safe. I provide an environment for safety. Right? I can protect you from getting injured or hurt or something like that. Maybe I might be able to ward something or somebody off, but your perception still you may not perceive safety. And so when I create an environment for you to be safe in, you create your own safety. And I can teach you about that by showing you what my safety looks like. And you can mimic that. We mimic each other. You know, we are inspired by and we copy one another. We're pack animals. It's how we operate. And so if we learn what it's like to be unsafe, we can mimic being unsafe. When we learn what safety is like, we can mimic safety. And so it's tremendously important. We've had people come and sit with us and, you know, we go out to Peru and it's like, I'm in this foreign country and I don't know where I'm at and I'm in the jungle. And we're like, what do you need to perceive safety? And they'll tell you, people will tell you, this is what I need. But they have to know what safety is first. Okay, what would keep you free from hurt, harm, loss, deficit, injury, death, pain? And they'll tell you. And I'm asking you, the person who's listening to this, what will keep you from being hurt, harmed, experiencing loss, deficit, from being injured, from dying, from being in pain? You know the answer to that. And if you can do it right now, in the moment of now, and you can replicate that, and keep it going, and just keep your safety going and grow it, and grow safety into a habit in the body. Safety as a habit in the mind. Safety as a habit in the interactions that you have with people around you. That's where the dynamic change happens, and that's where the healing happens. That's where the wholeness happens. Remove the fanciness from healing, y'all. Healing. When you heal, you become whole, right? And you are becoming whole all the time. There are new levels of wholeness. Wholeness doesn't end, right? It fluctuates. Healing is an ongoing journey. It's not a destination. It's an ongoing process. And when we can see that becoming whole all the time is a space that we are constantly crafting, it becomes a game that you can play to see how you can get your nervous system to coincide with the vibration of ease and safety. And that ease and safety will change your body into something totally different. You'll crave different foods. You'll crave to be around different people. You'll crave to be around different situations in different neighborhoods and so on. And this is a vibrational tone. Unsafe people tend to run in packs. Angry people tend to run in packs because they're not safe. Any person that's angry, they're not safe. Something's not safe. And I'd love for someone to show me otherwise. I have not seen one person that's angry that everything about them is safe. Because if they're angry, they're protecting something. There's some threat around. Nobody's angry for no reason. And so angry people are they're not safe. And so this is where when I'm safe, what anger is there to be had? There's no anger to be had. And so this is it, y'all. This is where we reside, in the ease space, in a safety space. And so I want to bring this again. I'm sure I'm going to do more podcasts on this to come. Thank you for being here. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for applying this to your practices in life, your practices in integration and psychedelic integration. Thank you, y'all. It's really, really, really wonderful and important to know that there are other people who are interested in safety the way I am. Creating a safe environments that are free from things that you can fall on, things where you will get cut on, objects that are sharp, like pictures and photos and information that would kind of mess with you. This is really, really important stuff. So thank you. I love you. Let's get safe. Please subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss another podcast. Share this with somebody you know who will help. It doesn't have to be somebody who's looking to be a coach in the psychedelic space. It doesn't have to be. It can be. It doesn't have to be. And as you move forward, rate, review, subscribe, share this with a friend. Put some comments, y'all. Please put some comments. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please, the more you comment, the more the algorithms favor us and the more we get this in front of more people. Our movement is integration is not optional, and it's not optional. You're always integrating. However, how you integrate is optional, and you can choose to integrate deeply with information, or you can choose to bypass it. You can choose to learn from it or not. It's optional, but integration itself is not optional. And I'm inviting you into a space where you craft your own integration from love and safety. So that's it for today, y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend. Share with a friend. Rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend. Follow us on Instagram, The Condor Approach. Drop a comment. Let us know what you want to hear about. I can't wait to see you at The Condor Approach, June 13th to the 17th, 2023 in Austin, Texas. If you haven't signed up, sign up now. It's going to be amazing. It's always amazing. I love you. Be easy, be free, and don't forget,
Integration is not optional.